Some shots were so clutch, they changed the game forever. And some were so close, they make you wonder, what if? What's up everybody, it's Jimmy, and have you ever seen a shot that was so amazing, so inspiring that you knew it was going in, and then it didn't? A shot that if it went in, it would have changed the course of NBA history. You don't see them often, but when you do, these kinds of shots just hurt to watch. Shots that would have decided the fate of a playoff series, a championship run, and even a career. Well, today I have 5 of the most heart-wrenching, close shots that would have changed everything if they went in. First up, let's take it back to one of the most controversial and competitive playoff series of all time, the 2002 Western Conference Finals. The Lakers versus the Kings. The Lakers were in the midst of a three-peat run, but the Kings were ready and willing to all that up. After taking game 2, 3, and 5, the Kings were up 2-3 in the series and just one win away from the NBA Finals and the end to that legendary Lakers run. It's game 6. We are in LA. It's back and forth the entire game. The score separated by no more than 6 points throughout the entire contest. As the game winds down, the Lakers take the lead with 1:55 left in the fourth. For the next minute and 50 seconds, the Kings work desperately to narrow that lead. Every time the Lakers hit a shot, the Kings come down and answer right back. With just 20 seconds left in the game, Hedo Turkoglu draws a foul and knocks down both free throws. Kings down by 1. Mike Bibby is facing up Kobe, guarding him about as tight as you can. Kobe comes through and takes the inbounds pass and elbows Bibby in the face. Unfortunately for the Kings, this was a foul on Bibby, and since they were in the bonus, the Lakers were awarded 2 free throws with just 11.8 seconds left on the clock. Kobe comes down and sinks both shots. The Kings are now down by 3. They have no timeouts, so they are forced to inbound the ball and make something happen. This is game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, and if they win this game, the Kings would go on to the finals and face off against the underwhelming New Jersey Nets. If they hit a 3, they can force an overtime. So here we are. 9 seconds on the clock, Kings down by 3. Bibby comes off the screen, pulls up from 3, and misses. Lakers rebound the ball, they win game 6 and end up using that momentum to take game 7 as well. The Kings were 1 foul and 1 shot away from beating the Lakers in 6, shutting down the Lakers' three-peat and going to the finals. But instead, this shot didn't go down. The Kings lost, spent the next 4 seasons regressing and losing their core roster, and have since slipped into NBA obscurity. This next one is one I'm sure we all remember. Well, at least we all remember the series, the rivalry, and of course, the shot. But what some may overlook was the shot that was missed that would have changed the entire outcome of the series and inevitably who would win the championship that year. It's game 7. At this point, we have already seen one of the greatest basketball games ever played in game 6 of the finals. A game that saw the most clutch shot in finals history. After handing over game 6, the Spurs had to go back to American Airlines Arena and try to take the last game of a grueling 7-game series. Here we are, game 7, with only 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Heat have been leading ever since the end of the third, but it's still just a 1-possession game. Green takes the ball up, dishes it off to Ginobili, and eventually, it ends up in Tim Duncan's hands. Now, let me preface this next clip by saying Duncan doesn't get nearly the recognition he deserves. This is a 5-time champion, a man that put a franchise on his back for 2 decades, never complained, always played his role, and led by example. And here he is, 52 seconds away from another potential championship. Duncan was made for moments like this. Timmy spins to his left shoulder and puts up a textbook, beautiful hook shot. Look at the footwork. Look at the elevation. If this shot goes in, their championship hopes are still alive. If this shot goes in, the Spurs tie up the game and have all the momentum in the world. But it doesn't. And not only does the initial hook shot hit back iron, Duncan bounces right back with a solid tip-in, something he's done 100,000 times. And that too is no good. At the time, I was a huge Heat fan, and this even hurt me to watch. Tim Duncan is one of the most stoic players the game has ever seen, and just look at how frustrated he was after this shot. I can't imagine how tough this was to handle, especially considering after that miss the Heat were able to retake control of the game and put it all away. So close, inches away from tying up this game 7, inches away from another championship. But of course, close is never close enough. Now, this next one is a shot that would have potentially changed the careers of multiple players drastically. It's June 19th, 1994. The Knicks have had their most dominant playoff run in over 20 years and have made their way back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1973. Patrick Ewing has been on an absolute tear, but it's the overall depth and well-balanced roster of the Knicks that have gotten them this far. With John Starks, Charles Oakley, Derek Harper, alongside Ewing, this lineup was built for a championship. And with Patrick Ewing in the prime of his career and Michael Jordan busy swinging a bat, this was a perfect opportunity for the Knicks to seize the moment. It's Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Throughout this series, Hakeem Olajuwon has been a monster, but again, it's the depth and balance of the Knicks that are getting the best of the Rockets. The Knicks lead the series 3-2. If they win this game, they win it all. It's been a close game all the way down to the wire. Once again, Hakeem is having a monster game, but it is John Starks who has taken over in the fourth. With just over 5 minutes left in the game, Starks hits a 3, piling up his 11th point in the fourth quarter alone. The Rockets' lead is cut from 4-1. There's 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the game. The Rockets are up 84-77. Things are not looking so good for the Knicks. The Rockets put up a 3 and miss. Ewing grabs the board and dishes it to John Starks, who sinks a tough layup. Rockets lead cut down to 5. The Rockets inbound the ball, and once again, John Starks comes up big when he tips the ball, hits it off Vernon Maxwell, and forces a turnover. With under a minute and a half left in the fourth, the Knicks inbound the ball. And what do you know, that man John Starks knocks down another 3. That's now 16 points in the fourth and 3 straight field goals for Starks. Rockets lead cut down to just 2 points. The Rockets come down, find Hakeem Olajuwon on the block, but he misses the fadeaway. The Knicks come right back, put it in the hands of Starks, but Hakeem intercepts the pass, steals the ball, and draws a foul with just 39 seconds left on the clock. And of course, Hakeem hits both of his free throws. Rockets lead now at 4 points. Knicks call a timeout. They inbound the ball and get it in the hands of Derek Harper, who finds Anthony Mason on the baseline for a jumper. Nothing but net. Rockets up by 2 with just 32 seconds left in the game. Houston brings the ball down, but the Knicks smother Kenny Smith, who puts up an ill-advised shot as the clock winds down and misses. Knicks call a timeout. Just 7.6 seconds left in the game. The Knicks inbound the ball and the Rockets foul, taking 2.1 seconds off the clock. Knicks down by 2 with just 1 possession separating them from a championship. Make a 2 and send it into overtime. Make a 3, game over. They get the ball into Starks, the man who in the moment felt like he couldn't miss. Ewing sets a screen, Starks comes off and puts up a tough shot over Hakeem. A shot for basketball immortality, the most important shot of his entire career. And it's no good. Rockets win the game and take that momentum into Game 7 to beat the Knicks and win the NBA championship. Not being a Game 7, this shot isn't very well known as a crucial shot in NBA history, but in reality, if this shot went in, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, and Charles Oakley would all have a ring. Hakeem and the Rockets would have never went back-to-back, and the NBA would have been altered forever. Starks was on fire the entire quarter, but came up just short on a shot that would have granted him and his teammates a spot in basketball history. Unfortunately for the Knicks, this wasn't the last time they were on the short side of things. This next one is one of the most infamous missed shots in NBA history, and it features the Knicks once again. We are in Madison Square Garden. It's the 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals. The Pacers and the Knicks have been fighting back and forth throughout a tough 7-game series. Two very deep, evenly matched teams fighting their way into the Eastern Conference Finals to meet Shaq, Penny, and the Magic. Earlier this series, Reggie Miller lit up the Knicks for 8 points in 9 seconds to close out Game 1 in Madison Square Garden. To say tensions were high is an understatement. It's late in the fourth quarter. It's been non-stop back and forth the entire game. The Knicks are down by 5 points with just under 35 seconds left in the game. John Starks hits a series of clutch shots, including this corner 3 off the inbounds. Knicks are down by 2. The Pacers come down, eat up much of the clock, but miss and open the window for the Knicks to come back. The Knicks call a timeout and are left with just 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter to inbound the ball and get a decent shot up to keep their playoff run alive. Game 7, 2 points between them and the Eastern Conference Finals. Patrick Ewing is sitting on 29 and 14. John Starks and Derek Harper are having great games as well, so they have options. They run a play that opens up either John Starks on the 3 or Ewing coming off the high post. They go to Patrick Ewing. He gets double teamed, but puts on a great move and spins right out of it, opening himself up to the basket and only one man to go over. He's been here 1,000 times. He has made this move more times than he can count. Just dive to the basket and put it in. He dribbles, gathers the ball, goes way up for a finger roll, and misses. So close. After the game, Ewing said he intended to dunk the ball, but with an injured knee, he felt a sharp pain and had to improvise, put up a finger roll instead, and missed. The worst part is, realistically, if the Knicks advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, they would have been a much better matchup for the Magic than the Pacers were. But they didn't advance, Ewing didn't make the shot, and the Knicks never got that ring they so badly wanted. This last shot is the most recent shot on this list and one that I know everyone remembers vividly. It's 2016 and the Warriors are the reigning NBA champs and have just accomplished a feat that most NBA fans thought they would never see in their lifetime. 73 wins in a single season, breaking the 96 Bulls record of 72. Now, all they needed to cap off this picture-perfect season was a nice, shiny ring. The only thing standing in their way was a laser-focused, bully, and damn near possessed LeBron James on a mission. We all know the madness that took place leading up to Game 7, so we'll just jump right into the heat of the moment. There's only 1 minute and 34 seconds left in the game. We just witnessed possibly the greatest block in NBA history, and neither team has scored a basket in over 3 minutes of game time. It's basically a stalemate at this point. LeBron drives to the hoop and misses the layup. The Warriors come down and Stephen Curry puts up a 3. In one of the rarest sights you may ever see, Curry is off by a mile. Not even close. The Cavs get the rebound and call a timeout. With 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the game, the Cavs inbound the ball to Kyrie and let that man go to work. In what is another all-time moment in NBA history, Kyrie hits an incredibly clutch 3 to put the Cavs up by 3 points. Steve Kerr decides not to call a timeout and allows Curry to work his magic. That magic that worked all season long. That magic that earned him back-to-back MVPs. With everything at stake, this was Curry's moment. He puts a couple moves on Kevin Love, but Love is right there with him. He gives it to Draymond and gets it right back. With just 7 seconds left on the shot clock, Curry knows he has to make something happen. He gives Kevin Love a pump fake, goes to the left, step back, Kevin Love bites on it. Curry goes to his right and pulls up. If he sinks this, he'll tie the game up. If he misses, the Cleveland Cavaliers complete the greatest comeback in North American sports history. But we all know how this story goes.
7 to shoot. Curry fakes the 3, steps back, crossover, puts up a 3. Rebound James with 30 seconds remaining.
In one of the most overlooked moments in this entire series, Kevin Love plays this defensive possession perfectly. A guy that was deemed virtually unguardable for 2 years was locked down by a power forward. We are talking about a shot that would have sent this game into overtime and gave new life to the Golden State Warriors, a team that won 7 of their last 8 overtimes they played in. If Curry hit this shot, the game more than likely goes into overtime, and the Cavs' chances of pulling off this incredible comeback doesn't look nearly as promising. Of course, if Curry makes this shot, we now open Pandora's box, and the last 32 seconds altogether may look completely different. In fact, you can make this argument for a couple of these clips. Change one moment in time and the effects ripple throughout the subsequent events. But all things staying the same, these 5 shots would have drastically changed careers, how we view certain players, how we view entire franchises. If these shots went down, they would have changed the course of NBA history. I mean, just look at how different these careers look. If that shot went down in 2002, Kobe has 4 rings instead of 5, and Shaq has 3 instead of 4. The Kings would have went on to face the Nets in the finals, and they would have more than likely beat the Nets and would have won an NBA championship. Which is just weird even to say. The Sacramento Kings and NBA champions in the same sentence. If Tim Duncan makes that hook shot or the following tip in, that would have opened up the door for him to earn his 6th ring rather than his 5th. That also means Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker have 5 rings instead of 4, and the Spurs accumulate the 2nd most NBA championships of all NBA franchises, all under Tim Duncan. If John Stark sinks that 3-pointer in 1995, Ewing, Oakley, and himself all have rings right now. And Hakeem and the Rockets don't go back-to-back with championships. And last but not least, if Curry drills that shot at the end of regulation and the Warriors get the opportunity to close out in overtime, LeBron possibly has 2 rings instead of 3, and the craziest part of all, instead of working on a 3-peat at the moment, the Warriors would be working on their 5th straight championship. Also something worth noting, since Robert Horry was on the fair side of both the 2002 and 1994 game, if those shots would have gone in, he would have 5 rings right now instead of 7. Again, there is more than just one factor that goes into these situations, but if we could compress these moments into a vacuum and change the outcome of just one shot, it is shocking to see just how different things would have gone down. I couldn't imagine how some of these players felt watching their hopes and dreams, everything they worked so hard for, all slip away in the blink of an eye. Shots that would have changed everything. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, until next time.